What's going on, people? This is Latinos in Action with another episode of Ponte las Pilas. I'm Thomas.
I'm Avish.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Jesus.
I'm Monica.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Mia.
And I'm Kim. And today we have a very special guest with us.
Jose Enriquez, CEO, founder of
Let's
Latinos
go.
In Action.
Very excited. Very
Alright,
excited.
so we have Dr. Enriquez with us, El Mero Mero, the founder of LIA.
Happy to be here. I've been waiting to do this and I rescheduled it twice, so my bad. But I'm happy to be here, y'all.
We're glad to have you here. We're glad to have you here. So this podcast is mainly going to be about you, of course.
About LIA,
about
the
LIA,
origins
your
of
program that you
LIA.
created. I think Monica can get us started with the first question that we have.
Alrighty. So our first question is gonna be just like introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background. Anything you want us to know.
Definitely. You know, I think sometimes, you know, when anybody's out there, people think that maybe when I'm not human or anything, but when I start to talk about my background, I think young people start to relate, you know what I'm saying? So I would love to start from the beginning, which is I was born in El Salvador, soy salvadoreño. Me encanta decir eso, me encantan mis pupusas. Yeah, they're so good. Yeah, nacido allí, me crecí en Los Ángeles, en el este de Los Ángeles, una ciudad que se llama Norwalk, Whittier. Y de allí pues me vine a Utah con beca, luché greco-román, no, tipo olímpico, right? Olympic wrestling. Not like Mil Máscaras or Nacho Libre, but and that's what got me out here. That's probably a good intro to just getting my education out here in Utah. I had a full ride scholarship to BYU to wrestle. I was an NCAA qualifier, California state champion. So really that's what was the impulse and my ticket out of LA to get my full ride education. From there, just kind of went on and saw a need, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that you guys inspire me, actually, because I think young people today, honestly, young people today just have so much talent. And as an educator, I saw the need that we weren't actually developing that talent. So I wanted to create a plataforma so that our young people could just bloom like they ought to, especially our Latino youth. So, that's a quick intro to really where I've been and where I'm, where Latino in Action started. So I can go deeper in, but I'll wait and see, what the questions
what
are.
we ask.
I love that you wrestled so much.
Yeah.
I box. Or
Okay.
I try to.
Yeah.
Wrestle. But I'm kind of scared to wrestle because it's like all on the ground and it hurts. Yeah.
No, I wrestling wasn't something I was even thinking about, but coaches, mentors, adults sometimes look at you and say, man, there's potential there, you know what I'm saying? So when this wrestling coach came at me, at first he was just looking for a 98 pounder because I was tiny. So he found me, and I was a scrapper by nature. From El Salvador, you got to be tough. You're in the streets of LA, you got to be tough. So he knew I was tough, but he just wanted to hone in all my energy and actually take it and use it for something different. So athletics then became like a whole different thing for me. When I began to wrestle, I was just tough. Like, I was beating everybody up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But because I was just like tough, street tough, and so it came natural for me. And then when you learn the moves and everything else, then it was a balance, and I took off with it. And my coach was surprised. I was surprised, but when somebody believes in you and you believe in them, it's an awesome formula.
That's cool.
So it's the same type of formula I want to inject into LIA, where there's adults that believe in you and you believe in them, right? That's where the magic happens, like y'all. So.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Thanks.
Were you excited about wearing, because I wrestled
Yeah.
myself in 7th through 9th grade. Were you excited about
The singlet?
The singlets?
Yeah, and they were even worse back then in the early 90s. Like, it's the NBA. Have you ever seen the NBA and their short shorts? They're ugly now, Well, in the wrestling arena, it was just ugly. Polyester way up here. It was just like bad. And I told my coach, I was like, I'm not putting that on. And he's like, don't worry, you won't have to. Completely lied to me. So we got to the first tournament, and the ref's like, come here. He's like, you got to put this on. I'm like, I ain't putting it on. And I walked away, and my coach is like, I'll give you $20. I was like, all right, let's go. You know, so I think, you know, money was the incentive at first, but after I just started winning, you know, so winning is you know, you want to continue to do that. And, you know, I think that's what athletics also taught me is that, you know, winning isn't just about, you know, raising your hand, but winning is also a process, right? In order to win, you had to prepare and practice and have that mentality. And it's just like anything in life and whatever your education, in order to win, you got to prepare your mindset and yourself. So I took a lot of that and then put it into a lot of parts of my other life. You know, whatever I did, I was going to think about winning, but that I knew that there was a process to that. There's hard work in order to win. You got to put in the time. You critically think about it. And so, you know, that formula I started to use everywhere else. But athletics is where, you know, it began. So.
No, I think you're really right in that part. It's when you have something, it's not really the reward where you're at the end. It's, you know, looking back at the progress that you've made. That's the real reward.
That is totally true. The process is
the process.
Yeah, for sure. I loved it. I still do.
Yeah.
You know, I get an itch once in a while, go into the wrestling room and do MMA with some people. Yeah, so.
You have I kind of see your social medias here and there. You have someone in your family does wrestling, no?
Yes, I have a nephew.
Yeah, your nephew.
Yeah, my nephew. You know, when he first started, it's Chavalo, you know, and my cousin, he's like, come on, like, you got to teach him. And I'm like, all right. So I'd go in, I'd wrestle with them. And he struggled through it, you know. Wrestling isn't for everybody. It's tough. You got to put in a lot of time. And he kind of went on and off. And then in high school, he took more interest. And I said, let's go, you know, let's do this. And his dad really pushed me to help him. But it was mostly him. And now he's a college wrestler at Snow College. You know, never thought he would be wrestling at the college level. I didn't. But it was really him who took the initiative and kind of ran with it. But yeah, his name is Xavier Javier. So
I know it's not easy on myself. Like the first week of wrestling, I felt like puking every single day at practice. They would be like, "Where are you at? You're supposed to be on the mats." I'm in the back room trying to puke because it's tiring, it's bad, and it's a lot of discipline.
Yeah, it is. It is. And
cutting weight, gaining weight.
Yeah,
it's a lot. So I think it's a good sport to start your strong mentality.
It is. It is. You know, I'd recommend it to anybody. There's even female wrestling now. You know what I'm saying? So, I think any sport at all that teaches you, you know, work ethic and discipline, and then end product. When you get your hand raised, it's nothing like it, you know, because it's an individual sport. So you can play team sports, and when something goes wrong, you know, but in wrestling it's mano a mano.
Yeah,
so you can't blame anybody, and that pushes you. So I learned a lot. Wrestling was a big deal for me because it got me first out of LA. It also got me a full ride, and it also taught me just hard work, discipline, which is what you have to do for anything. So yeah, I put a lot of work into LIA, and that comes from wrestling and discipline and other things. So yeah.
Cool.
Would you say were you desperate to get out of LA, or were you not really?
You know, when I say that, when it was my ticket out of LA, I think people are like, wow, he was just waiting to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes and no, because, you know, LA in the 90s was tough. Like, I remember, like, my 8th grade year when, this is why I got into wrestling. His name was Jose Enriquez. He wasn't even related to me, but his last name was Enriquez, and I really looked up to him. He was the captain of the football team, captain of the wrestling team. I always watched him wrestle. And his senior year, he was getting off a bus. You know, he didn't have a car. He was in this neighborhood. It was called Barrio Norwalk is what it was called. And he got off the bus. He had his tux to go to prom with him. And there was a drive-by, and he got shot. Like, it was like, You know, when you're an 8th grader, you're like devastated. And I was an 8th grader on a high school campus, so it was like it deflated me, and you kind of saw a lot of that. And so LA for me, although I miss it, I don't miss those times because I grew up during the NWA era, you know, which people think it's a movie, but it was for reals.
Yeah.
And so that also kind of made me grow up fast, right, and understand life differently and how valuable life is, you know. So I have, even with guns, I have a different perspective. I remember coming to Utah and this cat was like, let's go hunting, and I'm like, all right, what? And they took me to the mountains, and he pulls out this freaking gun or rifle, and I'm like, ah. And he's like, you scared? I'm like, yeah, where I come from, like, is different. So I think it's just perspective, right? And so, but LA, I love it, but there's some cold memories that I don't love, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to leave at that point in time and find something different. I knew there was more out there, but there's some people that never leave that environment, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to, so.
I feel like now that you talk about yourself, and you're right, like once you start talking about yourself, all these teenagers can relate. Like one thing you mentioned was you had to grow up at a young age. Like a lot of Hispanic and Latino students with immigrant parents, I feel like a pressure we carry is we grow up way earlier than we're supposed to.
Very true. Very true. I remember the term back then was latchkey kids, which meant that we had our apartment keys with us.
Mm-hmm.
So in kinder, first, and second grade, all of us, the 3 of us kids, we had keys to the house. So once school was over, we would, we walk, as a kindergartner, I would walk home, open the apartment and unlock it, right? So we were home alone until my mom got home. She cleaned houses. So we had, you grew up knowing and understanding the streets and knowing that you got to get home. We took care of each other, you know. And I'll say this, like, I'll give it up to the Latina. Like, I'm going to say the young ladies, and I tell my sisters, I'm so sorry, because my sisters would do a lot in that home. They have to grow up even faster than I think the male, because they put so much responsibility. My mom did on my sisters, and the boys, we did obviously, but the girls always do so much. And I always say that the boys have this illness, this sickness, and it's called mamitis. Because they get so spoiled, and the girls have to like pick up and do everything. And so I think the Latina woman is
second mom for a lot of people.
They're amazing, and this is why I think I think the Latinas are gonna rule this world. They're gonna rock it, because they're power. So.
That's good. What's the next question we have for him?
How did you develop the idea to create Latinos in Action?
Yeah, so I've been talking about it, right? Like, I think people think that it just came to me like, right? It's crazy. I'm like, no, like, this is like 40-something years in the making. Like, it was my life. So it's everything that I wish I would have had. Like, when I was in elementary, straight out of El Salvador, I had a mean acento, and even though I don't have it now, and I wish I had it. Like, I yearn for that accent. But back then, as a kid, I sounded different. So, I would literally read out loud to erase my accent, which is crazy. But as kids, you think about so much, And so I was embarrassed, and, I would have loved an LA student to come and say, it's all right, we're going to read together, we're going to do this. So that piece, I knew I wanted a program where there was peer tutoring, like somebody to help those young kids. And that's why you do that, right? And, getting involved in school, once I started wrestling, I would, like, some of my boys in wrestling were playing football, so I was like, I'll try it, and I was tough, I could hit, and I was fast, so I was a defensive back, all defensive back, LA, all defensive back, running back. So I started getting involved with other things, extracurricular Some of my buddies, ran track. Some of them, got involved with student council. Some of them played tennis. I watched. I just got involved, and so that's also something I put into LIA is extracurricular committees, social service. Because the more I got involved, the more I met people. So at lunch, when I was in high school, you wouldn't see Jose Enriquez in one spot. I would be kicking it with the goth. I'd be kicking it with the chinitos. I'd be kicking it with the gangsters. I'd be kicking it with the nerds. They all knew me. The athletes all knew me. Because for me and the way I thought, and I still do, when I was younger, I thought this way just like today, that the more I understood people, that was money, that was currency. So if I understood that chinito, one day he's going to help me in my homework, right? Like, they were all really brilliant. But I also at that time, needed to know the gangsters, because if I was on the street and somebody hit me up and say, where you from? And I'd be like, and somebody would protect me, right? So I was smart that way, and I knew that knowing and understanding everybody would cut my work and would help me eventually, and also around the school. And eventually, I ran for student body president, and I didn't really have to say anything, like, vote for Jose, right? Because they all knew me, so it was an easy thing, right? This is what I tell young people, like, you got to get out of your comfort zone. Like, we put up walls too much. So the more you're out there, you start to just learn a lot. And that's why I'm able to create a program such as LIA, because everything I learned growing up, that's what I put into it.
Wow.
Nice. Real nice.
There's a lot of detail behind.
Yeah, there
LA
is. Yeah, there is.
That you really don't think.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, people see this and they're like, oh, well, but there is detail and there's intentionality, right?
Yeah.
The reason you go tutor and mentor, the reason you're in committee, the reason you you guys learn together in groups, the reason you have themes, right, like Stand for More and things of that nature, is to bring you guys together, right? And it's everything I wanted to do back then that now I can just play with, it's like my laboratory. Yeah, so, yeah.
Thanks. Are we your lab rats?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Laboratory.
No, I always think of it as like, and people say this all the time, like, what is your dream? I'm like, I'm watching my dream, and my dream is talking to me. See what I'm saying? Like, that's how I see it. It's not necessarily a lab, but like, it's my dream walking with me as I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So to me, like, that's the best scenario, because like, you guys, this right here is my dream. Like, I'm in it.
Nice. I'm glad we were your dream.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm living it with you.
Yes.
We are living it with you.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
yeah.
So.
I think I would want to grow up to say I'm living my dream.
Me too,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
And I think this is what your goal is to provide with LA,
Yeah.
have all these young teenagers and have them like grow into the type of mindset you have.
Yeah, because I've learned that the more I speak about it, the more I capture minds, and they, even if in this even podcast, somebody connected with me in something I said.
100%.
And that's what makes it beautiful. But also, we've been doing this long enough that there are adults now. Like, I just came from Park City, and this teacher was phenomenal. She had a parent night. She was like, I was sitting there like in awe. And that teacher was an LIA student, right? Now teaching young 6th, 7th graders about LIA. And it was like, what? It was surreal, because she was just so power. And I was sitting there, and the kids were regurgitating everything, like telling the parents about LIA. And you're thinking, like, this is crazy, like generational, right? And then the other day I was at Orem Jr., and 2 of the kids there were like, my mom was in your LIA. Like, I was like, oh, don't say that. Right? But it's just
So all these years flying, but what's going on? Like, you can't tell. You look the same.
Oh, yeah.
You look as good. What's the secret?
I'll tell you my secret, and my mom's gonna love this. I have my mom's genes. She's beautiful. She's 68, still looks young. And I always give my mom credit, because my mom's she's taught me so much. But yeah, she has that India side to her from El Salvador, some other, just, I don't know, she's just energy. Like, she's still to this day just goes, you know what I'm saying? So grateful for that gene. So be grateful for your genes, y'all. For the genes.
So there's no trick. You just if
No
if you're
trick.
lucky enough to have those genes.
No,
you're
yeah.
lucky.
No skincare, no
No,
nothing.
although, let me tell you, my hair, people always, you know, I always tell the story. My teacher was like, "What do you put on your hair?" You know, and I always, even when we were younger, my mom had us well groomed, really combed, because when I would leave the home, you know, my mom would say, "Somos pobres, pero nadie va a saber," right? Nobody's gonna know that. So she always had us that way, and we didn't have hairspray or gel, couldn't afford it. So I had this aloe vera, savila, that I used to put in my hair, you know. And I always say it was that savila that saved my hair. Black and still growing. So I don't know, maybe I should have bottled it up. I'd be rich.
You can make your own product.
Right?
Yeah,
And,
Jose Enriquez.
I know. So no, genetics, you know. So
You know, it's funny because last episode when we weren't we talking about makeup and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, skincare.
it's important though, you know. I think, you know, it's important that people see you live and vibrant. And I try as much. This is why I always tell people, this is why I work with the youth, because they keep me young. Y'all keep me young. Like, I got my kids going on. And I think that it's because I want to connect with y'all, and I want you to know that, you know, I care, I'm here, I want to stay young as much as possible. But, you know, I think that taking care of yourself is important. You know, presentation is important. You know, I know that a lot of people like, you know, just to chill and relax and wear their pajamas everywhere and stuff. But, and, you know, there's a place for everything, but I think that also presentation means a lot. And people are watching you. Kids are watching you. So, yeah.
What do you think your younger self would tell you, like right now? Like, what would little Jose Enriquez say about everything that's going on right now?
Yeah, that's a hard. It's. I think he'd be proud. I think he would be like, no way.
No way, dude.
No way. That's exactly the voice I had. Let me just tell you, the other night I was with the 6th, 7th graders, and there's this pequeñito kid, like, everybody was towering him. And I'm like, bro, come here. Like, I was you, bro. I was you. I was this tiny. I was 4'9", nothing. For the longest time, all these girls, every year, I'm like, man. And you know, Latina girls, they mature quick. And here I am, this tiny kid. I'm like, man, I have no hope, right? And then I did a sprout in high school, but still, a 5'3" for the longest time. And then finally 5'6". I'm like, thank you. At least that, right? But,
That's
yeah.
average height for
Average,
Madison,
yeah,
Utah.
right? Average height.
Yeah.
5'6".
So like with that, so with all this progress, your little self, like, do you feel like you're healing that inner child inside of you?
You know, I love that question. There's still some demons in there. You know, I grew up without a pops, and being a father today is tough. Being married is tough. And been through, you know, a divorce and so forth. So there's still things I need to work out. And this generation has actually allowed me to look deeper as well, because there's so much of social emotional mental health issues going on that it has allowed me also to think about, you know, what I need to do to improve and to kind of heal some of those demons and things that had been scarred for so long, you know. But my pops, I met him in 2006. I went back to El Salvador and saw him for the first time, and it was cool. But I didn't feel a connection with him because he just didn't raise me. But it was a chapter that I needed to finish. And I don't know, I didn't even know when he passed on. I think I don't even know where he is. But, you know, not having one, like, I wish I would have, like, to understand things a little bit better. But, so I have to kind of play with that and try to do that. And sometimes I feel like I'm a father of a lot of kids. Like, my own kids are like, Dad, you gonna go see your kids again? You know, and they know I'm gonna go with LIA, you know. So, you know, I think there's just, you know, there's stuff inside that I think we all do, you know what I'm saying? So, but this has been very clinical for me, I guess, if you will, with young people and therapeutic. And people are like, when are you happy? Like, what makes you happy? And I'm happy around them. Like, if I see them succeed, like last night when that teacher was, that's happy for me. I don't care to be on a beach in Hawaii. Like, that's not happiness for me. Like, this is it for me right here. Like, I could walk away and be good.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. You have all of us in shock.
I know.
Man.
That's very relatable too. I feel like the way I find my happiness is being able to provide happiness for others.
Mm.
Like, you know, I may be having a bad day, but if my friend Tomas over here is having a bad day and I can do something for him and he's happy, all of a sudden I feel 10 times better.
Yep.
Or just small actions like that. And I mean, with the whole program that you have, I can only imagine like
Yeah.
how much happiness you receive from every little thing.
Yeah.
You travel with all these LI classes to see how they're doing, to keep them on track, to remind them what LI is about.
Yeah. You'd be surprised though. Like, it does bring me, like, it's top, but there's still loneliness in there. It's crazy. It's crazy. Because I want to share it. And I don't always get to share it. And sometimes when you're at the top, you're running, and so you're like, want to share it all, and you can't share it fast enough. So there's this hueco that is still in there. Even though you get so much back, you wish that you could share it all the time, right? So I'm always chasing it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but I love it. Like, if anytime I need something, I can go to any state, any school, any district, and I'm up like that because I can come to a class and it's over. It brings me out. So, you know, yeah, that's what it does for me instantly. So
You say you find happiness in other people, but how does Dr. Jose Enriquez find happiness within himself?
Yeah, I'm chasing that question. It's tough. I think one of the biggest things for me is when my life is at an equilibrium, my mind, my spiritual, my physical, my joy, that's where I'm happy, where I'm just chill and like there's no heavy problems or anything. And it's rare, but there's times where it happens and I'm just like content. There's moments where I'm either at conference and I see everybody screaming, or where I'm sitting back and I'm watching a kid tutor. They're quiet, quick moments. That's joy for me.
Sometimes you do gotta like stop and look around.
Yeah.
You might miss
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, sometimes I do, and there's those moments where I capture it. They're rare, but where you can just sit back and be like, okay, that was amazing. Like last night was one of those moments when I was sitting back, and this teacher is telling all the parents, like, basically like boom, to the parents, and the kids are listening, and everything was like 360. That moment was like, this is cool.
Is it just kind of shock, where you're just kind of like sitting there taking everything in, like,
Mm-hmm.
like wow, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably those moments like where I feel the most happy. Yep.
So inspirational and motivational. I mean, everything that comes from you is like, you say everything with such meaning, and like it comes out.
Good. No, I think sometimes we tend to make life difficult when I think real happiness sometimes is in the simple things in life, you know, and we tend to forget about the simple things, and I think those are the best. Like when you go home, people are like, "What's your favorite food?" I'm like, "Frijol y arroz." They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, get me some good frijoles, good arroz, un quesito blanco, una salsita. I'm content," right? Like basic, simples, and I think that we're the ones that make life complicated. It doesn't need to be. I mean, this right here is where you learn the most, right? Just kind of talking about life and you know what makes us happy and how can we do better? Like trying to improve yourself. I'm always trying. Like we can always improve. So
There's always work to be done
Mhm.
within ourselves.
yeah, for sure.
Do you have any like hobbies that you do to like cope with those things that like?
Yeah, I love that question. I love to dance.
Same. Twins.
I love music. You know, the guy behind the camera over there, Luis Azuquita. The reason why he's been with me for so long is because he can mix it up, and I love music. Like if I get a good salsa, a good merengue, even a good beat on R&B. I love R&B. I love old school rap. You know. And I'm about that, right? Because I was born and raised around it. A cumbia, a good Salvadorian Colombian cumbia. And if I get in that mix and I start dancing, I forget about everything. Like if I get somebody that I could dance with and, you know, she's not that tall or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because they wear their stilettos and all that. So, but I love dancing and if I get like, even a bachata with a beat, a corrido, like, I just escape, like in a
Nice.
dance. Like I love dancing. I also love sports. So if I get a good basketball game, a football game, a wrestling match, whatever, those are all like easy escapes for me.
Yeah.
And then, you know, sometimes what I just picked up just recently is just cooking. You know, I'm cooking a good meal.
You haven't
You
burned the
know.
house down yet?
I haven't been asked that. I've been learning a lot. I call my mom, like, are you sure, Mom? And she's like, yeah, it'll be good. But yeah, I think those are de-stressors, but I think dance and sports, athletics, any sport just takes me away, even if I'm watching it. I'm very competitive by nature, so that's why I love that part. But the dance is just like in me. Like if I hear a good beat, this is why I like this guy, right? When he started playing this, I'm like, man. The thing is that I think I appreciate it more because I'm horrible at it. Like I can't pick up any instrument. I'm too I can't even sing Happy Birthday in tune. Right? But I can appreciate it, and I love to hear it. And when God gave out that talent, I was nowhere near, right? But I can definitely pick up a good tune, and at least I can dance, right?
Yeah.
At least he gave me that, and yeah, I just enjoy it. So
I love it. I love it. I actually try to make music too. I'm learning how to like produce my own things at home and
Yes.
stuff like doing like I have like a little home
Mix
studio
table.
building and all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, I was telling my friends that I want to take my music more serious
yeah.
this year, and hopefully something happens.
You never know, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that sometimes people think you got to be at this level all of a sudden when you try something, and I'm like, nah, man. Like LA started with rejections, right? Like my principal didn't want to do it, right? And you just got to keep persistent and pushing it, because talents are given to us so that we can share and develop, right? And people think that talents just have to be at the top all the time. It's not how it is. We're not given talents to hide. We have to share them. The more you share them, the more you develop them, and then you also develop them in other people, right? Because somebody will hear something and they're like, oh, maybe I can do that. So yeah, just keep at it. You know, even if you're, you know, your home base is just you listening and people and friends, it's still, you know, I think it's something that you begin to develop, and that's where you grow.
Yeah. Well,
So.
So did LA start as a little like small club in high school?
You know, it was an after school thing that I thought, you know, can we do this as a class? And I was a teacher, and I remember going to my principal, and I was like, let me take 35 of these Latino kids and teach them Spanish for natives, because I kind of knew he would go for that. And when I started teaching them about, you know, Latino heroes, because I wanted them to see that there are Latino heroes besides the one paragraph they write on Cesar Chavez, right? But I started talking about, Diego Berta Menchú, Pablo Neruda Marquez. There's so many literary heroes and other heroes, but we never learn about them. So I wanted them wanted to teach that, but then I also thought, I took a step back and thought, we could teach them about Latino heroes or we can create our own. And that's where like it all started. Like I went back to my principal and like, let me take this class and call it Latinos in Action. And he was like, it's not in the course manual. And I'm like, it's not there. Like it'll be the first, and just trust me. And it's cool to have, you got to work with people because there's going to be some advocates that are not Latino. And this principal was white as heck. And he's like, okay, let's do it. Like he advocated, he trusted me. And that was the first class. And I began to create our own heroes, right? And that was the idea that first year. And then it just kind of grew from there. Started putting pieces together.
Nice.
Like a laboratory.
Laboratory. There you go. That's
But,
nice.
no, started putting a dream together.
Was
Cool.
there like a lot of setbacks during the process? Or
Mm.
was it?
Yeah, I love that you had asked that question. I think that people see what Latinos in Action is now, but they don't see the 20 years, right? They don't see the times where like people are like criticizing you. And back then, in the 2000s, early 2000s, in Utah, there was like English only laws, like it was crazy in the time that I was trying, but I think just perseverance. I also knew that education was going to open more doors, so I got my master's, I got a DR in front of my name, my PhD, which I knew was going to help me open more doors. But it was tough. A lot of critics, a lot of naysayers, even your own peeps. I'm gonna say that 2 or 3 times. Sometimes your own people, like it's sad. We should work together, but sometimes they're just like envidioso. They're like, "Why are you starting this?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't care who gets the title. Let's just come and help me." I think as Latinos, we need to help each other and work together. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot of heartaches and money. Where do you get the money? Still, people are like, "Where do you get money?" I'm like, just from heaven. I don't know. Yeah, but I just think the reality is that there's a lot of work. There's times where I remember one time, particular time when I was trying to hire a director while I was being an assistant principal because I couldn't run it at the same time. It was a side hustle for so long that I put my mortgage on the line, right? My house on the line. Like people don't see those moments. Like it was a leap of faith to leave my job at the state office to go and run a nonprofit. Like just that decision was like crazy, right? Because you have a steady income and then you go to this nonprofit where you got to go get money, you got to find money, and you just be like, it's your passion, so you're gonna go with it, and it's hunger, right? Yeah, like.
You took a big risk there.
Yep.
mean,
I always
it's
say that
if you don't take a risk, you're not gonna win.
Yeah, you gotta
much.
take some risks. My friend was like, you know what PhD stands for, right? Poor, hungry, and determined. Right? And I think that was the drive, really, is like, I'm gonna make this happen one way or another. So, yeah. It takes work, and there's always gonna be ups and downs, still.
Would you have changed anything about the way LIA came up?
No. Just because I think every corner and every up and down was needed. And still, like, we just announced this, and this will probably get out there, but I brought somebody from North Carolina yesterday to see Park City, because in Heber, there's 2 schools in Florida and 2 schools in Utah. We're about to launch the first Latinos in Action at the elementary level. So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 4th and 5th. So,
Nice.
yeah, because they receive the services, but a lot of the principals are like, why can't we have LIA? And I'm like, let's do it. So we're about to launch that. Is it going to be successful? I don't know. You got to take that risk. But right now, a lot of principals are like, sign me up. I'm like, all right, here's how much it costs. but I think the reality is that, there's risks that are involved. But you never know unless you take them. So.
Yeah, talking about that, I have a little sister who goes to Truman Elementary, and I think Granger tutors her. And she's like nonstop always talking about those kids.
Right.
She'll be like, yeah, your LA friends came to tutor us. Or they came to play with us in PE. And I'm like, yeah, you like it? And she's like, yeah, do you go play with little kids too? And I'm like, yeah, we read to kindergartners. And she's like, you guys read? And I was like, hey.
That's
Like,
boring.
Like, I know LA does like impact kids because she's like always like nonstop talking about like those Granger LA kids
Yeah.
and how much fun she's always having with them. So
Yeah, imagine them coming to conference.
yeah.
Which you're gonna see this year at conference. You're gonna see some littles.
Oh,
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
I feel like it's not only a satisfaction for you, but I feel like it's a satisfaction for us. Because, for example, when we go tutoring, all the kids are like, "Hi, buddies! Hi, buddies! Hi, LA!" And it's just like
It's like a warm feeling
it's
in your heart.
important.
They
So
get
I
hyped.
feel that for you.
Yeah.
Like you say, you share all this joy, this excitement, this
Yeah.
happiness. Your success, you share it with everybody. Like you pass it down the chain to every other state you have. It's really big and impactful what you do.
Yeah, I think somebody had talked to me about this, and they're like, I'm gonna leave this life, and I want to leave a legacy, right? Like they said, I don't know what legacy I'm gonna leave, but they're like, you can leave a legacy. I'm like, yeah, everybody can leave a legacy, right? I don't think it just has to be within a program, but I think that I do want to leave this life saying I did something meaningful. Sorry.
You are doing something meaningful.
100%.
It's real nice.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I really look up to you, and like you say you want to leave this legacy, but I feel like it's already there and you're just enjoying it. The day you do leave this legacy, like you're gonna be like, wow, it was already put to work way before I thought, and you'll realize that more and more. And I feel like everybody, your worst enemy is yourself, or your best friend is yourself, and there's so much great you do. Like you create within us ourselves.
Good.
You get us started within ourselves.
Yeah.
Because from experience, I know LA is like a comforting class. Like I know I have a class to rely on, people that I know I can go to.
Yeah, I feel like LA has just opened so many like opportunities too, like about college and school too, and like
100%.
it's just created like a place where you can grow as a person, and it's just one of the best classes there is.
I know I've grown as a person taking this class. A lot,
100%.
actually.
I agree, because I feel like if it wasn't for LA, I'd be like so naive about college. I wouldn't really give an importance to it. But like since the first day in here, it was like, oh, like this is different. This is a different class. I just really enjoyed
like
it.
the environment is completely different from another classroom. Like people are talking, people are communicating, people are just like they're comfortable with each other without even knowing each other yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say LA is kind of like a comfort zone
Mm.
for everybody. Like for myself, it's like, cause I'm sort of, I try to be an extrovert and like.
You're needed in this world. You're needed.
Yeah, and so like I feel like signing up for LIA is like it gave me a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And I met a lot of new people and I just love it. You know,
Yeah.
I love everything
You
about it.
feed off of it.
Yeah. And now I'm, the activities director.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being super excited for this class because I had gone to Skyline, which is a school like more
Yeah.
towards the east.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was like our Latino population wasn't even big enough to have a class, So I was like, oh my gosh, once I picked my classes, I was like, LA, like, 2 little buses. And yeah, just as soon as you get here, like you feel what the class
Yeah.
can help you.
I just. No, you go. You
I felt like I could be myself a lot more. I know, like, back then I wish I would have had a support group like this. I met a lot of amazing people, and I feel like, I don't know, I grew more as a person, my mental health, everything.
Mhm.
I feel I was kind of like stuck in this little box because I was like, in a way, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just made it feel like lower than anybody else
Mhm.
until I got here.
Until you're here.
LA has just helped everyone just grow as a person and just realize that like we're more than what we think we are.
Mm.
And like I feel like it's, at least for me personally, it's just been like a self-growth journey since the day that I got in this class. Like, it's just been like me realizing a lot of stuff and that I'm worth a lot more than what I thought I was.
I want to add on to that. I feel like, I don't know, it has to do a lot with the teachers too. Shout out to Mr. Barnes.
Yeah,
Constant
I was gonna
reminder.
say that too. I'm glad y'all did.
Because, I don't know, I feel like I wasn't really going down the right path when I first got to high school. And in a way, I felt like Mr. Barnes helped me a lot. Thanks to LA. Because, I don't know, it's like, I'm Latina, you know, obviously. And I started taking harder classes like AP, stuff like that. And it just felt like I didn't belong because I was the only brown-skinned person in there. And
100%.
I don't know, like Mr. Barnes kind of took those expectations like out of there. He took that stereotype out of there. He made me feel comfortable.
Belong.
I
Belong.
don't know how to say
It's
it.
given
but
a
yeah.
lot of confidence to everybody.
100%.
Like, just knowing that, like, we have a place to come to feel comfortable, to feel included, to feel heard, is just, it's the whole heart of LA.
Dude, with Barnes, it's a constant reminder. You'll just be chilling in class and he'll just be like, dude,
You guys are amazing.
you're amazing.
You're worth
You
it.
can do anything you want. And he'll put like the motivational music behind it. It's a
love it.
constant reminder.
I really do think that you have amazing teachers in your program. Like Michelle said, I really stopped taking honors in AP and concurrent enrollment classes because you just don't feel like you fit in. But I mean, having this LIA class throughout your schedule is you have it every other day, and you're like, I went to LIA with the mindset that all the other classes that are not LIA, I'm gonna feel just as good as I should, and just as good as I do in LIA. So it gives you this confidence, a lot of comfort. Definitely helps seeing people like that are similar to you, that they deal with the same problems, maybe not exact the same way, but we can all connect in some way or form. We can all help each other, pick each other up, and just be there for each other. I mean, I really wasn't close to anybody here. Monica, Sarah, Kimberly, Mia, I mean, Thomas, and Michelle, and Avish, like, it brought me closer together to all of them.
It's power,
like,
huh?
It's another familia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
remember
what I
our first social at
Yeah.
the pool. And at first we were all like, what do we do with these people?
Now we're on each other like if we're siblings
Yeah.
fighting and stuff.
That's
but,
good,
but we
that's
love,
good.
and it's that comfort that we have grown and
Yeah.
that we've have from you.
Oh, thanks.
I've only seen you like 6 times. I want to say.
It's
But
like other than your social media.
other than your social media, but I mean, every time I see you, I always feel that good connection with you, and I don't know, like, I'm super proud of you, man.
Oh,
Me too.
I need
And
that. Thank you.
I couldn't have thought of
We
anything
are
better
proud of
to
you.
have
Thank
set this
you.
better example.
You are amazing. You're amazing.
I need
Cue the
that.
inspiration.
And
You
I
know,
def- oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
And
Go
I
ahead.
definitely think that all the other LA classes are thankful to have you.
Well, it feels good, and I thank you for specifically saying that. Because sometimes you need that. Even I think sometimes people think, oh, he's good, but we need to help each other. And I love that you guys have said that you've come so close, that it is your familia, but also that know this, that years from now you guys are still gonna be tight knit. You're gonna call each other, trust me, and you need to, because there are gonna be days, and I'm gonna say this right now and warn you, there will be days in the future where you'll need each other, and I hope that you can continue this right here. I love that you can just spat out the names like nothing, and just feel like they're gonna come to your comfort at any point in time, and they're gonna be there for you. As you get older, you need a cohort like this, because there's gonna be times in the future when you have kids and you want to smack that kid and you're like, what are you doing for that teenager? Let me tell you. And then you bring in and you're going to support each other there. And you need the lifelong friends like that. I can count in my hands real friends. It's crazy, right? From high school and college. Most of them are college. Some are high school. I would say 2. But LIA, I think if I would have had LIA, I would have had, like, yeah, tight-knit friends, and I could count them in 2 hands, right? But I think that y'all need to just really remember this moment, remember what you've done and created, and then who you created it with. Like, the process is really the best part, because in college and everywhere else, you're gonna need a phone call. You're gonna need, like, you're good, don't worry. Like, I'm gonna come over, let's have lunch, let's have dinner, let's have a chicas night out. Right? Let's have a boys night out, right? So yeah, I mean, I just think, I hope that y'all can keep that, because it's not like it.
So, coming to an end to this podcast, I mean, I would love to sit here and talk
Serious,
for
me
hours.
too.
I mean, this is like therapeutic, like you say, like it
Yeah,
helps
it
a
is.
lot. It's these moments where you sit down and talk and listen to Kim's perspective, listen to
Mhm.
Mia's perspective, and you hear and you look at life other ways. And just as LIA, like everybody, all these LIA students have this perspective of LIA, but once you get to say your side, it changes them. Like, se ponen las pilas, you know, like
Mhm.
ponte las pilas. You know, but what's something you want to leave to this podcast, like for everybody that's hearing or watching us, like what do you want to leave? What message do you want to leave in this episode for everybody?
There's so many messages I want to leave, but I think one of the best things about this is that y'all can relate, and one of the things and hopes with Latinos in Action that I hope that you take from this or anywhere or any LA is that you guys can break the walls down and start to really know each other at a different level. This is a different level right here. I don't know if you felt that, right? And in order for that to happen, we have to kind of break some walls down. And you kind of hinted towards that a little bit. There's some demons inside, some scars, but y'all as leaders need to create an environment in your LIA or in your familia where people can trust and speak and not be scared to speak and show emotion. And as Latino males and sometimes Latinas too, we're in our familia, sometimes they're like, ¿por qué lloras? Right? Or ¿por qué estás chillando? Right? And we're kind of told not to almost, like, share. Mental health becomes a taboo, but y'all need to just break those walls down and talk. Just talk. It's therapeutic. It really is. This has been therapeutic. And I think we need to do more of that among Latinos. And then the last thing I want to say is that really true leadership doesn't necessarily come from a position, but from those who can position themselves to serve those who seek. And there are many people in our communities who seek things like this, or seek help. And if we can position ourselves, which is what you're doing, to serve them, that's a real leader. So try as much as you can to position yourselves in places where you can help people. And this is a great way to do it, is through podcasts, through listening, through visuals, talking, and having people hear you is also therapeutic. So, gracias, LA.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Yeah.
coming in.
Honestly, it was.
Yep.
Do you know how to make pupusas?
I don't know how to make pupusas. Well, I hope someday there's a chica that can help me learn how to make pupusas. It's an art. It's an art.
I was coming at you. We should've made it.
It's an art. It's an
What
art.
part of, El Salvador are you
I am from La Libertad, which is off the coast, and there's this little town called Quesaltepeque, and that's where I was born. Yeah, beautiful place.
Anything else you guys want to add? Or wrap it up?
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming today.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
We were waiting
Appreciate
for
it.
this. I know.
Wow,
Well,
I love that. I want that recording. I want to watch it. You got to shoot it out. We got to shoot it out, Luis.
Yeah.
That was power.
Well, thank you for being here. I think that's a wrap. Everybody, ponte las pilas. I hope you guys took something out from Dr. Enriquez himself. I mean, I'm proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Wow.
And I know for sure you're going to leave an amazing legacy behind. And that's it. That's a wrap.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.